Hi, folks. We are back. I want to talk about, you heard in the news, Al Sharpton decrying the riots in the streets in Ferguson, Missouri. By the way, tomorrow we'll have the mayor of that town on this show. But I just want to point out that the call is out there, and I've seen it in the media. They don't understand, the liberal commentator. They don't understand. Why won't the police there or the mayor's office or whomever in that town reveal the name of the police officer who shot Michael Brown and killed him? And the reason is, according to the police in that town, it's a very good reason. The reason is there have been death threats against the police officer who did it. And once the name of that police officer is released, it puts himself, it puts his family in very high jeopardy. And so they're not releasing the name yet. What good would the releasing of the name do? What will the releasing of the name solve other than to give protesters, rioters, those who would do, harm, a target? Now, I hearken back to, since we've heard this from those on the left, we've heard it from the Al Sharptons, we've heard it from others who claim that blacks are targets now in this country, they bring up Trayvon Martin. And, George Zimmerman, before he was even arrested, they put a bounty, the new, well, I won't say the new Black Panthers, the old Black Panthers, I don't know which party it was, put a bounty, I think the new, but I'm not 100% sure, put a bounty on the head of George Zimmerman. Okay? They put out flyers, wanted dead or alive. How the Justice Department still hasn't brought someone to justice for doing that to a private American citizen who had not yet even been charged with a crime, and even if he was, but he had not even been charged with the crime. So now you want the Missouri police to put out the name of and the identity of the police officer when he's not been charged with a crime, when there's an investigation underway, to who? To placate activists? To placate people who might put a bounty out on his head or might just want to go hunt him down anyway? I just, you watch the media, you listen and you watch and you hear them speak, and don't they understand? And don't they understand the concept of innocent until proven guilty? We don't have all the circumstances. We don't have all the circumstances. We don't have all the witnesses been interviewed. We don't know what has happened. There are conflicting reports. Now, we know we have a dead, unarmed black young man who is about to go to college, and that is sad and that is terrible. Questions, though? I don't know. I even heard from one witness who was his friend, supposedly, who the media is lamenting has not yet been interviewed by police, and that was as of this morning. I don't know if he has or not, who was apparently or supposedly there with Michael Brown at the time of the incident, that one of the police grabbed Michael Brown's arm and he ran away and the police chased him. I don't know. I don't know. But, to go under the assumption, as was the assumption, and they're two different cases. One has nothing to do with the other. But to go under the assumption that like Trayvon Martin, who wasn't hunted down and shot because he was black, to go under the assumption that Michael Brown was hunted down and shot because he was black by a police officer is outrageous. You need an investigation. You need to get the facts and see where this leads. So I understand why they're not releasing the name of this police officer. There's no need to right now. What would it accomplish? All right. We are joined right now, ladies and gentlemen, by Jill Tahmooressi, mother of imprisoned Marine Sgt. Andrew Tahmooressi. Jill, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
I want to catch people up. I don't want them to lose sight of you and of your son and of the story, because as you well know, it gets harder and harder. As time goes by, it gets harder and harder as, we're bombing Iraq, and as story after story comes to the fore. This gets pushed aside by the media. I don't want to let that happen on this show, certainly. So what's the latest? Where are we? From what I understand, your son's attorney is going to ask for a dismissal of the charges. Do I have that right?
Yes. He should be filing that motion this week, perhaps even as early as yesterday.
Okay. So tell me where we are. When's the last time you spoke to Andrew?
Okay, so I spoke to Andrew this morning because he calls pretty much now every morning and evening. That's one of the few rights that he has. And so he's hanging in there. He's trying to stay, courageous and hopeful. Mr. Benitez certainly is aggressively pursuing a release, with 3 different legal strategies. And so one of these parallel strategies is certain to work. So we're just being hopeful.
Since we spoke last, I believe he had a court date. What are the 3 different legal strategies?
Okay, well, the one is the most obvious. That's the factual case of innocence, that Andrew had absolutely no intention of being on Mexico's soil. And when he realized he stopped the green light and said, hey, I need help. I've got guns in my truck. Can you help me get turned around? But that could take years. That would be a trial, which could take years. Another strategy is that his constitutional rights were violated. He was held for 8 hours at the border. He did not have a translator. He did not have an attorney. He did not have the State Department with him because he was apparently under arrest, for 8 hours. That would be constitutional rights that were violated. And the third is that the search warrant itself was subjected to possible corruption in the sense that it was dated 3 days earlier. There's 11 pages missing. The person authorized to conduct the search was not present. So those 3 different strategies are the ones that are being pursued by his new third attorney, Mr. Benitez.
And in the last court hearing, which was, I guess now a couple of weeks ago, again, every time he goes in, I guess there's hopes that he will be released, but that didn't happen again, correct?
That's right. He went before the honorable judge a second time, and of course, every time he goes before the judge, he's hopeful that the judge will just release him. But that didn't happen. So he is always very despondent when he has to go back to El Hongo and not come back, and not come to America. What happened last Monday, his second court hearing, was 3 different Mexican officials were questioned and cross-examined by Mr. Benitez to validate the concerns that are obvious with the search warrant and his constitutional rights that were violated.
And when is the next court date?
So he does not have a court date set right now. So right now, there is no court date set, yet that motion is being filed to dismiss the case. So we're just hopeful that the judge will rule in our favor.
What's the anticipated timetable for a ruling, do you believe?
The judge, I believe, has exactly 15 business days to make a decision. So that is 3 weeks from now.
We have coming up next the wife of the imprisoned Christian pastor in Iran, Saeed Abedin, and we've had her on from time to time. And I'm going to ask her kind of the opposite question of what I'm asking you here. I mean, and you and I have discussed this before, and you said you thought Mexico was an ally. I mean, you might expect this. If God forbid your son had been taken by a hostile nation in Iran or something, but it's right across the border. It was an obvious mistake. He by virtue of his 911 call, he had nothing to hide. He wasn't trying to hide. He was even looking for help, but he couldn't get it because he was across the border. So I mean, it's so. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm certainly not a Mexican lawyer or judge, but it just seems so open and shut. It seems that a friendly country, an allied country that we do business with and commerce with and trade with and take their people, and you would think that there would be, here's a mistake, go home, you're a Marine, go back to your country. But it's shocking to me.
And that is probably what's so concerning, is it is absolutely mind-boggling. I mean, there's no rational sense for Mexico to continue to hold him when there's absolutely been no evidence set forth to convict him as far as intentionally trying to go through Mexico with his guns. So that's what makes it so worrisome, is because you have to wonder if they're not holding on to him as a political pawn of some sort, or retaliation for something that Andrew wasn't even directly involved in. So that's what makes it so scary.
Do you have any indication that that is the case, and what that might be?
No, I can only I can just be worried that perhaps that's the case.
Yeah, it is just it is mind-boggling, as you said, and it's just ridiculous. It's obscene, and again, the detractors or doubters as to, why the president or the secretary of state, they always would say, and I don't even know who they are, but you hear, well, maybe there's more to it. Maybe there's more to it. You got to be, but it has anything at all come out in court or otherwise that would raise, that you would say, yeah, okay, I could see why there would be the slightest doubt. Has anything come out to the surface at all?
Absolutely not, and that's what makes me even so worried, too. I mean, I've heard of very high-level governmental officials elected saying, well, 1 + 1 doesn't really equal 2. Isn't there? There's got to be something else. Well, they should be fact-finders. Don't make a statement like that, if you don't have the facts.
Right.
There's absolutely no fact to indicate that he intentionally was trying to go into Mexico with his guns.
Jill, I want you to give us the website again to help you pay for this legal defense.
Thank you so much. www.andrewfreedomfund.com.
AndrewFreedomFund.com. AndrewFreedomFund.com. Jill, we'll stay in touch, and again, give your son all of our blessings and good cheer, and tell him we're supporting him.
Thank you so much.
All right, Jill. Jill Tahmooressi, ladies and gentlemen. Very brave lady. I don't know how I'd react. I really don't. All right, folks. When we come back, the wife of imprisoned Pastor Saeed Abedini and the new video